Hey everybody, it's Riley. Pick 345. We're gonna go over not just today's, this whole weekend's EPL slate, starting with the showdown today. Southampton hosting Aston Villa, 4 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Should be an interesting one. You got two kind of low mid tier table teams. So are either of these teams going to be doing anything at the end of the year? Probably not, but nonetheless, I do like Southampton's spot. They're plus 100. They're favorite here. Villa is about plus 270. They've been struggling lately. But I do think we're going to see a few goals on both ends. Specifically at Villa, Leon Bailey, he's been inserted in the lineup. If you follow Bundesliga at all, you know that he was a very hot and cold player, but when he was hot, he's very hot. I think he's been getting regular starts now, and I like his form. He's 9K, and he's probably my favorite Villa player. Another Villa guy I'm going to look at is Matt Target. He's the defender. He gets a little less attention than Matty Cash, the other defender, but they have very similar numbers. Cash has just been able to find a few assists. They both have taken corners, so he is 4.8K, and that's a good price for me that I like. Southampton, like I said, I'm going to be favoring them here. I'll probably do a lot of 4-2 builds, 5-1 builds, however I'm playing. But James Ward-Prowse, he's kind of like the perfect fantasy player. He's on a little lesser known team, but he really does everything. This whole offense flows through him. He just got back last week, had 9 fantasy points. I think this is a good spot to buy him here at 10K. I will probably captain him a lot. I think, second game back, expect him to get back to that form, where he's kind of in the low 20s, mid 20s, high teens fantasy performance. And I'm going to take a little gamble here on Jan Berndarnik. He's a defensive center. I really just like his hat-trick potential. Like I said, with Prowse back, expect some crosses in the box, especially on some corner kicks. He is 3.6K right now, and if you're paying up for Prowse at captain, he's a good guy to throw in there at the bottom. Another one I'm going to use here is the other defender here. It's going to be Livramento. He's a little more expensive, but he has been sending in some extremely nice crosses, has great crossing numbers and shots assisted numbers. So those are just kind of my thoughts on that one. Like I said, not the most interesting match, but nonetheless, I think Southampton should, if I had to guess, I would say 2-1 here. But yeah, so let's move on to the next one. The Manchester Derby. This is tomorrow morning, November 6th, 8:30 a.m. kickoff. This has been probably the most entertaining derby in the EPL in the past few years. United has actually performed very well, surprisingly, compared to, kind of the disappointment they've had recently and, everything that's going around the club. I've struggled to kind of figure out what I'm going to do here, and I think I'm going to do maybe a little bit of a spread and probably only play tourneys. I don't know if I'll go around the cash because my favorite player on the slate is Ronaldo, 9.6K for Man U. This just seems like a match where he's going to show up, and he's going to show up in a big way. Would I be surprised if he had 2 goals here? Absolutely not. Like I said, if you watch him midweek, he basically hits a buzzer beater to, tie the match, Champions League. He just, like I said, he just thrives in these kind of spots. And, this is the type of match, the reason why he came back to Man U. So do I like him? Yes, I do. But he's definitely a tourney play for me. I don't really see much cash value in him, especially at that price. So like I said, I'm only going to play tourneys here just because, I think this is a kind of a match that can go either way. And I think it's a little tighter than maybe what the betting lines are expecting, just because, like I said, this is a spot that Man U typically does show up for. It's the ones you don't really expect where they lay an egg. If Cavani gets a start, like I said, it looks like they're going to start Cavani and Ronaldo up front and then kind of just try to defend through the back and play through Bruno. But, if he's up there, he's 8K. Like I said, he started his first match last week and he scored a goal. He is a prolific goal scorer. He is a little old, but, those two up front is very dangerous. And I think that's the best Man U lineup they have. I personally hope they go with it. And like I said, 8K and a tourney with Ronaldo and Cavani. I think that is a solid leverage play, especially in the showdown. Luke Shaw, he's basically going to be kind of in a midfielder role, but he's going to be a defender. He's 7K, so yeah, a little expensive. But those are my 3 favorite picks for Man U. Man City, let's see. I like Grealish. If you've been reading any of my articles, you know that I'm a big Grealish fan. He just has not found the assist or the goal yet, but he's still given 13, 12 points. He's given a pretty solid number right now. So, he's 9.8K and he's going to be my favorite City player. When the goals or the assists do come, he's going to have a massive scoring output in fantasy. So definitely someone I want to get behind. Bernardo Silva, he's 6.6K. He's going to be playing in the midfield. To me, he's just a good price point. He has solid numbers. Not anything that jump off the page, but he does a very good job of, converting his chances. So if he gets one shot on goal, he's usually going to score, but he might only get one. I just think there's going to be a lot of expensive players, so you kind of have to pick and choose who you want. Cancelo, if you play Champions League this week, he absolutely dominated the slate. I think he finished with 46, and he was the highest score on that slate. So, he is a little expensive here, but he's going to be hard, the way he's been playing. And like I said, he's going to be sending in crosses, and, Man U is the way they've played recently kind of allows for that. So, he's definitely someone I want to look at. So, yeah, personally, how I build my lineups here is, I just try to pay up, maybe try to get 4 or 5, pretty more kind of expensive guys, and then just throw a dart at the bottom with one of the defenders. So, because like I said, I think this is going to be an entertaining matchup. Definitely one that, I'll be up and watching. And then, let's move on to the last slate. It's going to be Brighton and Newcastle. This is an interesting one. Brighton, they really did. They drew Liverpool. They probably should have won that one. I think they're probably the most underrated team in the EPL in terms of just kind of public reception. They do have a really solid squad, top to bottom. And in this showdown, I'm going to look to build just kind of some Brighton onslaughts here, probably 5-1, 4-2, definitely lean to more 5-1. I think this is a match they really get done at home. Newcastle going through manager switch. I don't really buy into the manager bounce here. This is a tough kind of situation for him. I do, like I said, Trossard, he's been really solid just overall in terms of getting shots and shots on target. Definitely, probably my favorite captain here, especially with Pascal Gross out. He's going to be getting all kind of the targets here. So definitely my favorite player there. Really anyone in kind of in the midfield there. Like I said, with Gross out, it makes it a little difficult, but I'm not going to blame anyone for using any Brighton midfielder. I think they all kind of provide the same thing here. And, whatever, I would just really kind of build my lineups around Trossard and, whatever kind of works from there. Sanchez, the goalie, I think he's a must play. I think this is one of the spots where Newcastle, it does have some decent, they're able to get shots on. I could see them getting shut out here though. And I think Sanchez could put up a big number, getting some saves, but then getting the clean sheet of the win. So, kind of a tough build, but there's definitely some angles to attack. And let's move on to the main slate here. So we're going to be kicking off at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. We got 3 matches. Different. Last week there was 5, week before was 4. So cutting down a little bit here, but that's mostly just due to the midweek Champions League and teams kind of having to rotate schedules and trying to get some teams some decent rest. But so let's kick off. We're going to go with Brentford and Norwich. So Brentford is a big favorite here. Well, minus 165. Norwich plus 500. They've only scored 3 goals this season. One of them actually came last week, and it was kind of on a cross play to a defender. So, wasn't necessarily doesn't really give you a lot of faith in their offense. And, I tend to agree. I actually do like Brentford in the spot a lot. They're not the best team. Are they even a top 10 team? No, I think they're definitely, I don't think they're getting relegated though. And I think they do have more class than Norwich here. They've definitely found their footing a lot faster. Both these are promoted teams. That being said, I do think Norwich probably thinks they have a chance here. They're not going to have a chance a lot, but this is definitely one of those matches. I think they're going to start with the wagons. Still, I think Brentford has actually been playing pretty solid, and I really do like their squad top to bottom. So a couple guys I'm going to highlight here. Christian Norgard, he's 5.1K. I actually highlighted him 2 weeks ago when he was 3.7K, and he managed to get 10 points. You can, if you're just looking at his whole season, you might be a little disappointed, but recently, he's really, really stepped up. He's gotten 3 shots, 3 shots, and 6 shots in his past 3 matches. So he's really starting to get kind of those attacking opportunities. You could just see that he's getting a little more comfortable. The offense is really kind of going through him a little bit more. And, I still think he's pretty underpriced, and he's definitely be a guy I want to highlight. Another one, Sergi Canos. He's technically a defender. He's basically going to be playing midfield, though. And kind of the same thing. He's going to do a lot of crossing. He's going to, he'll get on corner kicks, set pieces, things like that. He's a pretty solid player right now, 5.5K. Those are definitely my 2 favorite Brentford players, and you'll be seeing a lot of them in all of my lineups for the slate. Tony, the forward, he was incredible last season in the Champions League. Really hasn't found the goals quite yet this season. But look, from 8.8K, I think he'll actually be a solid leverage play here. You're going to get a lot of people looking at Chelsea, and I do think he definitely has good potential to get a goal, maybe even 2, if everything breaks right. So those are my 3 top picks from Brentford. And like I said, I expect Brentford to win pretty comfortably here. So I will kind of highlight a little bit later down the road about how I'm going to kind of attack this game from a strategy standpoint. Norwich, I will highlight one player, Dowell. He's 6.2K midfielder. Just a very kind of solid player, has a pretty high floor. Ceiling, not great, but like I said, very solid player, 6.2K. My guess is he'll be lower ownership, especially coming off. Norman had a really solid performance in fantasy last week, so I think you'll get a lot of people going towards him, but I think Norman provides a lot of the same things and pretty solid floor. Definitely someone, if you have a spot for him, I wouldn't shy away. Besides that, really, like I said, I'm gonna stay away from Norwich. I mean, I know it's a little risky just trying to leave the team off kind of completely in a three match slate, but it's hard to really get excited about anything on this team. So the next game here we're going to highlight is Chelsea and Burnley. Chelsea is a big favorite and deservedly so, -400. Burnley about +1100. Burnley's offense the last few weeks is, you got to give them credit. They really have. It's been good. It's not really the Burnley you expect, but this is a different animal. Interesting stat I heard, kind of doing some research, listening to some podcasts throughout the week. Chelsea has only given up 3 goals this year, and 2 of them have come from penalties. So 1 goal from open play. They have played much difficult schedule considered when you're comparing to playing Burnley. So is Burnley going to be the attack that breaks them down? Highly unlikely. So got to give hats off to that defense, like I said. But their offense, really has been picking up too, even without Lukaku and a couple other injuries. Mount probably won't go here. Werner's out, so they are missing a lot of pieces. But I'm going to highlight a couple guys that I like here, especially at the prices. Hudson-Odoi, he is 7.9K, and Champions League over the week he was very solid. Week before he was very solid. I think he's really kind of flourishing in this role, and I think most importantly, he's embracing the opportunity he's getting. Like I said, 7.9K, he'll be up in the front. Definitely a guy that I'm looking at here to play. Probably my favorite play is Hakim Ziyech. He's 7.4K. He absolutely destroyed the Champions League slate, the early slate on Tuesday. And he's only 7.4K here against Burnley. I mean, that price really just jumped out to me, and that's someone I got to play. You are going to be playing a little bit of gamble here with Chelsea players just because it is very spread out, and you really have 7-8 guys that can score a goal. It's not really, no one's offense is really running through anyone, but like I said, those 2 at the prices, it's going to be hard to resist here. Another defender I'm going to highlight here, he's going to be a guy who's basically also playing in midfield, similar to Canos, which I highlighted for Brentford. He's 7.9K. 7.8K. Reece James. He does it all. He's kind of your perfect defender. He's exactly what you want in kind of that position, just in terms of crossing and getting possession and passing, shots assisted. He takes shots himself. So, paying up a little bit for some Chelsea guys, but those are my 3 top picks. And yeah, I really wouldn't fault anyone for even looking at Havertz or anyone like that. Loftus-Cheek as well. Jorginho, obviously he takes penalties. He's not going to do anything really besides that, but if he gets a penalty, he's a value pick. So, like I said, there's a lot of guys to look at there, and how incredible their defense has been. I really don't see Burnley getting much possession, but Matt Lowton, he's 4.3K. He's a very solid defender. I see Burnley getting a lot of possession? No. So does that decrease his price for me a little bit? I think so, but he's a pretty solid. That's a pretty solid price for a guy who's very consistently getting some decent output. So the other, the forwards, midfielders, even though McNeil, he's a guy that I really enjoy playing. They scare me to no end here, just with that Chelsea defense, because I just don't see a goal coming. But I'm not going to follow anyone for looking at McNeil, because if you've listened to the shows or read my articles, you know how much I'm a fan of him. So let's get to the last one, and to me, probably the most entertaining one: Crystal Palace Wolves. If you last season, this is almost guaranteed a 0-0 draw. This one, though, I think has potential for a lot of goals. Um, Two of the most improved offenses from last year, probably if not the two most improved. So we'll highlight some guys in Palace. Gallagher, he put a 30-point fantasy performance in last week versus Man City, so hats off to him. He kind of had a little dip, and I think he's starting to get back on the upswing here. And at 9.1K, and I think it's a pretty solid matchup. I think he's a must play here. He, like I said, he's a fantastic player. Offense is running through him. He's going to get the crosses, shots assisted. He's doing everything for Palace. And like I said, this is a match that looks like it actually has some pretty solid goal potential. So 9.1K, sign me up. I'm going to look at Joel Ward, defender, 3.1K, a little cheaper here, but he's been doing solid, getting some crosses, doing a couple shots assisted, not really scoring anything, but 3.1K to me in this match really does. That's a good value pick, and definitely, someone that you'll see in a lot of my lineups, just because I think the price is going to help me pay up for some more expensive players. Like I said, I do look at this match to get some goals, and I'll definitely have a couple lineups where it's basically just a Palace Wolves stack. Some guys to include on that would be Jordan Ayew, forward, 5.7K, pretty solid numbers. Really hasn't found the goals yet, but good shot numbers. So it's more a matter of time when he gets one. 5.7K, it's an appealing price, because if he lands one, probably low ownership, would be a good pick. Let's look at Wolves here. Wolves, another team, difficult. They have a lot of options, so you're going to be trying to pick and choose. My personal favorites, Hee Chan. He has, he's really, really improved over the year. This last few games have been pretty solid fantasy outputs. He's 8.1K. He's going to be up front. I think he's going to get solid shot opportunities here. 8.1K. You can stick him in midfielder or forward. He's a good play for me. Like I said, I think he's going to be their kind of main shot taker here. Another one I'm going to look at is Ruben Neves, the midfielder. He's just a very solid player. He has a very good floor. The ceiling might be a little limited, but can he get us 10, 15 in the spot? Absolutely. If he gets an assist, you never know. But like I said, he's a pretty solid player, and definitely someone at the price I'm going to have to consider, and he'll be in some builds because, it's just you have to find some opportunities to pay down a little bit, and he's a very solid player who has potential to get you some, get you a good point output. Raul Jimenez, 8.5K, a little bit of a risky pick, just as, of course, if you remember last week, played him, he didn't score, and he was subbed out early, so it was disappointing. But he scored in the following match, so it's just one of those you just have to basically watch. He's very risky play, but he can really help you cash in your lineups if he does score. It's really just dependent on if he scores or not. But he's a very good striker, and very difficult to leave him off because he's one of those guys you don't want to get burned by, but you also don't want him to burn you. So yeah, I'll go over some quick strategy too. Like I said, Chelsea onside I think is obviously going to be the most popular build here, and it's to be expected. It's going to be more about picking which guys will end up scoring for them. I think I really don't see Burnley scoring, so yeah, Chelsea onside. I think I would do that, and I would build out with some Brentford, kind of cheaper Brentford guys like the guys I highlighted, or some cheaper guys from Crystal Palace Wolves. I do actually like Crystal Palace Wolves kind of stack. It's a little bit of a leverage stack. I think this match has pretty good potential to have the most goals on the slate, even with a Chelsea, let's say, 2-0 win. This has potential to be like a 2-2, 2-1 match where, there's a lot of offense. So another one too, definitely going to be a lot slightly owned, but is going to be kind of a Brentford onslaught. I think this is a great spot for them. I think they can keep Norwich out of the net, and like I said, I look for their offense. They just kind of relish this opportunity. They've been playing a difficult schedule too recently, so I look for those are three kind of different builds. Smaller, like I said, smaller slate of games, so a little more difficult to figure out what you want to do, a little less options, but nevertheless a great opportunity to hopefully make some money and some good soccer on this weekend. So thank you all for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to tweet me, RileyPick345, or Discord, and let's have a good week.